Okay, here we are back again. Okay, so today we're gonna keep working on this. Try to shore everything up and make sure that we get this whole entire foundation to be either like a solid green or a blue like that. But before we do that, I did kind of want to kick it off with a little bit of like tutorial action. Kind of talk about. I've been having lots of people ask me like, oh, yeah, do you have a tutorial? Do you have da-da-da? Teach me your ways. And so I guess to oblige, do that. Trying to look and see where would be a good place to kind of start. A small example. Probably right there, actually, on the this little house we have built here. So, I'm going to start with showing you kind of what the basics look like of building in Valheim, right? Like you build your house, you build your walls, you build your roof. A lot of the times, lots of people say it kind of comes out looking a little bland or boring. So there's ways to fix that. There's ways to help you with that, and I'll show you how we do that. On a very small scale. Right here, I'm just starting with one of these. Just to kind of show you exactly what I mean. Alright. It's gonna be weird kind of starting off on a really tiny thing like this, but that's fine. We'll make it work. Let's put like a regular door on there too. You could do like either one of these doors, which I'm not a big fan of. I usually end up going with those, but when you first start building, so yeah, most of the time, lots of people build their houses, and it's very kind of two-dimensional, flat looking on the front, and basically if you want to create that sort of like depth to each one of these like facades, I guess, if you will, of your house, and one of the better ways to kind of start doing that, one of the easiest ways, I guess, rather, to start doing that is, you know, people put like this down on the base, and they're like, oh, look, that's perfect. It's pretty, right? And it is, don't get me wrong, but even with this, and some arches, still looks kind of bland, right? So there's a problem with like just building directly on top of each other, on top of other pieces, is that it doesn't give you any of that. Hey, Shadow. What's up, man? Demo 2, hey. Um, but yeah, even when you put like the fancy pieces directly onto your builds, they'll come out very like two-dimensional. So the way that you can kind of give things depth is either by taking these like 1 meter beams and putting them out like that. And then you go and get your roof piece at the right angle, the correct angle, and you can build them out to the edge of that. That gives your roof a little bit of overhang. Right. And you can already see too how, like, giving some of your build depth allows the sun to kind of work its magic on some of the, giving you a little bit of shade right there. So that's like one really quick way. What are you guys up to? How's shadowing? How's demo? Did you get your computer back, man? I hope you did. So that's one way. Like I said, that's kind of one way to immediately add some depth. The other way that I think is better is I'm gonna get rid of all this, because that's one way. But a lot of the times doing that'll like kind of offset your roof pieces and make them overlap, and then end up creating like random weird patterns that you didn't like intentionally mean to do, where your roof pieces are overlapping. A better way to give yourself more depth on your structure and to add kind of more like intricate details is like, once you've got it built like that, again, it still looks kind of boring. The handle's kind of clipping through here. Usually, whenever I do these doors, I almost always do the double door version of it. I did. Good line of playing with it now. Nice. And the way that you want to add sort of some depth to your doors, or even your windows, because you can apply this same concept to your windows, is you take your piece, and it doesn't, because it's not necessarily like trying to connect to any like connecting point right here, but sometimes it'll try to auto connect, and what you want to do to stop it from like snapping into place like that is to just hold the left bumper, and then you can literally kind of place it anywhere in the world or on a structure. So if you do end up catching a snapping point, like while you're trying to set this thing in somewhere, just hold the left bumper, or whatever the mouse equivalent is to that, and you want to try to line these pieces up too, so that they're the same. Again, otherwise you end up with like weird gaps, weird spacing and stuff like that. So you kind of want this arch to line up with the one that's behind it, and then this one will snap to the other one, which is fine, and then you kind of build it out a little bit like that. So basically what you're doing is giving yourself like a double, like a pane, almost like a window pane, but like a, you know, like if this was a window, like that. And what's cool about doing this too is like you can either have this kind of come out to the front one, and so you just put this up here to a little bit of finished piece, and then so you're doing some crystal windows. And again, too, as you can see, if you do it up front, you're gonna end up with like that kind of look, where everything's like flat and flush with everything. And that's okay in some instances, but when you want to create a little bit of depth to your build, what you want to do is, and again, say you want to leave that up front, right? So that the window looks like that up front. What you want to do is have another piece in the back that fits to that double part, and then bust out whatever you're going to use for your window, be it crystal or iron gate or whatever you're choosing to fill your window with. And then when you can look at it, it's got a lot more depth now, and you can actually see the arch that you built for the window. And it's cool too, because you get this little like windowsill on the outside, to which you can then attach, like if you wanted to decorate, you could put a resin candle on the outside of the window, or the inside if you reverse the design. But if you reverse the design, remember you're gonna have that kind of flat look out here, so maybe even triple up on it, you know what I mean? So you can have like a windowsill on the inside, where you can put the candle, or whatever you want to decorate your windowsill with. The other thing is too, is instead of like going full on with like the whole frame around the interior, if you want to create the windowsill look to it, you can hit that and kind of just place it right there, and then just go with these. And this is cool too, because like besides adding a windowsill and give you something to decorate with, you can line up for some building in Valheim. Honestly, looks fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. For me anyway. I know not everyone likes building, but building here is cool, because it's kind of like, it's almost like drawing, for me anyway. But it's cool when you do this like non-snapping thing, because then you can have, like, you see how these line up like that, and you've got this like open spot on the end here. Like if you don't want that in your build, what you can do is, like I said, you can hold the button that prevents it from snapping, and if you use your eye, here we'll go to the other side so it's a little bit easier to see. Oops, in the sunlight. Dang it. It's fun. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt though sometimes, demo, like when you gotta get to when you start going to your roof part, like start building your roof and you wanna like make it structurally sound. Like this big giant behemoth is gonna be a pain in the butt to try to roof, but we'll do it. But if you use your eye and you use the shadows and you line the piece up without letting it snap into place, you can kind of create these more like, you know, flat, like even surfaces like that, which I've done for a couple builds because it looks better when you do that, I think. Especially if you're trying to build like, you know, a bar or something and you want to have parts, like the end parts of it sort of exposed, and it takes a little bit of like messing with it, a little bit of patience to get it just right, but once you get it there, it's good. It looks cool. And then, but yeah, like I said, so you want to build like a little bar thing here, or a little table or something like that. And the thing with building in a game like this that has like tons of different connection points for each one of the things, when you prevent it from snapping into place and stuff like that, that kind of even gives you a little bit more extra building like flexibility to like do cool stuff with it. So let's take this design here and we're gonna scale it up a little bit bigger. So give you like a better idea for like doing the front of your house and making it look nice. We'll leave that like it is. So yeah. The thing about building upwards and really tall is you're definitely going to need these wood iron poles or wood iron beams. Of course, too far away from the forge. And you can kind of you can use, there's like a you'll see down on the bottom there, cycle snapping, and that is choosing which points that the piece is going to snap to. So like if you snap into the bottom part of this piece, it'll go to the bottom part of this piece, or if it's already got a piece right there, this one. And you when you're building upwards, you want to do that. You always want to make sure you do that, because if you can see, take this away so you can see. So of course I'm too far from a stone cutting table. Alright, so put one there. Take this away. So if you can see now, that pole's like into the ground a little bit. So you always want to do that, especially if you want to build up and tall. Because once you implant that into the ground, that basically kind of grounds this whole structure that you're going to do, and that kind of makes sure that it stays green for as long as it can. And it makes building down in the ground a little bit easier too, because you can kind of, like I said, choose where you want to snap from, and so on and so forth. Once you get up a little bit higher, you need to start building yourself scaffolding, or you gotta bust out your dev commands, which I'm gonna do for this because it just makes it a little bit easier for the tutorial purposes. And I'm gonna fly up. First time I'll say that. Yeah, no, building is definitely really fun, and like I said, in this game, because there's so many different like snapping points you can connect stuff to. You can make some really cool looking designs. And you'll notice too that now that we're up here, these are yellow in color. This one's more yellow than the other one because it's not supported as much as the rest of these. The other reason I want to do this tutorial too is just to get an idea of how well this is all going to be supported when I go to do it on the big, huge, larger scale. Skip time so we can bring back the day, the sun. Dev commands is really easy to put onto your game to, like, just note you won't be able to use that, like, in a multiplayer setting. Of course, it's gonna be really foggy. Dude, come on. The weather in this game has got a really funny sense of humor. It's like the minute you decide you're gonna get in your ship and go sailing, it'll start raining hardcore too. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go out and explore today. And then you wake up and it's just heavy rain, and wind is directly coming at you, or coming at the direction you want to go. So you gotta bring your sails down to nothing so you can sail. Alright, so that's kind of the basic structure for the roof that we're gonna end up doing, right? And that's what we're gonna end up doing for this big one too. And just to give you guys again an idea of trying to make it look intricate, but at the same time giving you like structural support so that it is functional as well. Let me come in here so I can repair this hammer real quick. Alright, so then we'll build this out a little bit too, so that you can kind of, again, see how you should do this. The thing with building in this game too is that you should try to frame your builds first. Don't just start putting walls up and then building it that way. And also, almost in this game, it sounds weird, it doesn't make sense, but you kind of got to build from your roof down. Like you've got to... Alright, so we've got those there. Let's embed one down on the bottom, another one down on the bottom. Make sure this side is the same way. And I'll show you what I mean by framing your base out or framing your build out. Come on. Okay. So you have that, right? But you don't want those like ugly iron poles like sticking out through the build. So what you do then is you grab like either a log beam or I prefer these ones because they hide the iron part of it a little bit better. The ashwood beams. They hide the iron parts of the pole a little bit better than the regular wood beam. If you put the regular wood beam on, you can kind of see the rivets still sticking through. But these ones hide it a little bit better. And that's usually, again, only if you're going to end up putting that on a part that's like super visible. You know what I mean? If that's on the front of your base or something like that. But what I like to do for really big A-frame builds is go with the log pieces. They're a little bit wider, so they hide the rivets a little bit better. But what? Goodness. This is the problem with building big too, is you need to have like workbenches kind of spread out so that you can so that you can build far apart. And so those will hide it. A lot better. And just for like kind of continuity purposes too, I usually end up putting that into the ground as well. Continuity or just OCD, I don't know, pick one. And so then when it comes to building, let's kind of flesh this all the way out here. Use the shingle roof, like how I have on my big build. Game I enjoy building in. You don't like building in Conan, Revna? It's not as like cool, I think. Like it's not as like versatile. Like you can't like do crazy. You can still kind of do crazy, cool, awesome designs with it, but I don't know. Valheim offers like a really cool like versatility in their build system that like you can pretty much do almost anything. You could build anything you wanted, really, because of all the connection points and the different angles and orientations you can put to it. but it is also extremely relaxing to build in this game. There are a few hours of it, like if I can't sleep, a few hours of this and I'm ready for bed. It's similar to Red Dead though too. Like if I can't sleep and I spend a few hours just riding around, enjoying the scenery, listening to my horse and the hooves and all that stuff, like it's not long before I'm sleepy. But using the buttons to kind of cycle through the different snapping points is also going to come in handy when you go to do the facade of the roof and you want to make it look a little bit more intricate than just like this flat roofed stuff. Alright, and then usually what I do, and this is basically like a little kind of 4 2x2 piece, like long section of one of the roofs of my like larger build. What? Why is it not? Okay, we'll just do this then. And what I do with those is like hide them in these because the ash wood overlaps well with the black shingles and doesn't look weird to me anyway. Alright. Oops. Okay. Then usually what I like to do too is kind of give it like a little bit of a, because I don't like that the like roof pieces don't come together exactly at the top. So again, OCD, whatever you want to call it, I know no one would ever be able to like see the top of your base, but I know it's there, and so I put like kind of that thing there. Or the other thing that you can do that looks really cool on the top of Viking roofs is these guys, and you might have to like mess with the cycling through the snap points to get it to like snap just right, but that kind of gives the top of the roof a little bit of that like sort of Viking spiny look to it. A lot more versatility and flexibility. There are things I enjoy about Conan, but yeah, Valheim has, yeah, for sure. It does. It definitely does. It is so much more versatile. And also the cool thing about using, in my opinion, about using these ashwood roof crosses is that when you go to put your if you want to do the raven adornment, it is also a dark carved wood, so it looks like it fits almost perfectly with it. Or if you do the wolf, they fit well. If you wanted to go with the dragon one, it's okay, but I would recommend using the regular wood crosses instead, because the wood kind of matches similar color anyway. So just for the sake of not having to remove all those, let's go like this. And the other thing is too, is when you're working on the front of your base, and if you don't want it to look flat like that all the way up, like very two-dimensional, you're not going to want to put on you're not going to want to put this on yet. Basically, you're establishing where your wall is going to be, and then you're going to want to extend it out even like one more entirely over the edge, or like I showed you earlier at the beginning with 2 meters rather. You'd extend the roof out the full 2 meters, or you can extend it out just 1. Like I said, when you start breaking into other roof pieces though, that's going to cause overlapping, and it'll give you this weird like sort of like doubled up shingle looking thing, which it depends on how closely you're paying attention to your roof pieces whether or not that bothers you. It bothers me. So yeah, you've made this, right? And you're gonna have this be like your entryway. So let's build this out as if it was going to be our entryway. And I always like to have like a little baseboard going along the bottom of my walls too, which is just a product of, I guess, building in real life, because I don't know how many people put baseboards in their game, in their builds. I'm just doing this because it's simple, easy, and quick for the purposes of the tutorial. Like I said, if you're ever going to use this door, make sure you try to do the double door, because the single door looks weird, and if you do the single door, the handle almost always ends up like clipping through whatever you're trimming the door out with. Okay. The other thing too is when you build really big A-frames like this, you're going to need to like go all the way up with supports, and you might even need, depending on how big it is, those iron poles to help create more like support to give you all the structural integrity that you're gonna need to like do the cap part of your roof cap. Okay, and then we'll kind of quickly put this together. Oh, here, I'll show you another little trick too. Like I usually like to do this with my doors, a little carved wood on each side of it, kind of give it some separation. And when you put these in here too, these little 1 meter pieces, you know, say you've got like a bunch of 2 meter beams that are going across, but you want to like, and I kind of showed this when I was talking about building the bar, but you see how that kind of offsets it a little bit, right? Where normally it's supposed to sit on just the 1-2 meter beam. You can overlap these like this, which allows you to kind of mess with like designing this stuff too. But again, for the purposes of this, I'm gonna not do that. But for right now, but what you can do sometimes if you want to add, here, let me show you what I mean. If you want like your walls, because you could, let's do it with a full wall piece. This is another thing too, is when you come to do this, these pieces are going to stick through that, which is another reason why when you go to build the actual wall part, remove those, or the actual part of the roof that is like the front of your house. And don't necessarily follow this as like a step-by-step. You can ignore putting these on at the beginning so that you don't have to take them off later. Like I could have left them off. I was just putting them on to show you how to hide the wood beams, the iron wood beams. Oh my goodness, the sun's already going down. Let me get that back up again. I guess because I skipped time for trying to get the fog to go away, but I gotta get out of here and I'll see y'all soon. Oh yeah, I might be on a little bit later. It's been a while since Sleeper and I have been out, and it's been a long time since I've seen all you guys out on the trails, so stay safe, be good, be well. Maybe I'll see you out later in the trails. I didn't skip enough time. Dang it. Alright. Sorry if I didn't catch you there, if you're already gone. I think I might have just accidentally skipped too much time, but that's that's okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright. So anyway. I'm just gonna kind of build this out, like I said, so that I can show you exactly how to build the facade of your house so it doesn't look so boring. We'll go almost all the way up with these, because again, I like to create when you get towards the top, I like to create like a little design in the window at the top, above the doors. You can go straight all the way up to the top with these, like so, and don't worry about making this look good. This little part right here, don't worry about making that look good yet, because we're gonna extend the roof out one more piece entirely, because that's kind of how I like to do it. Either one all the way out, or that little 1 meter outwards kind of sort of jut to it. But anyway, so once you've got your walls kind of in place like that, right? You can't like overlap these necessarily, like unless you attach to something else. So what you can do is you can kind of hide one of these guys in the 2 meter piece, and then that gives you another point to attach the wall to. So instead of just having like your regular 2 crosses there, your Viking crosses, now you've got another attach point embedded in the 2 meter beam, and you can do one of those. And it only just gets, you know, you can kind of do whatever from there, you know what I mean? Like you could do that, you could spread them out to make them more intricate design, just however you want to, and just, you know, play with it, mess with it, figure out what you want to do with it. For now, I'm just going to try to keep it sort of simple, so we can talk a little bit more about the facade building parts. Do the same over here, and of course, if you build something next to a wall that is that like 1 meter wide, then you don't need to like embed one of these in there, because you can use that as your jumping off point for your wall. Like you could literally put it right over the top of it, you could put it like next to it like that, but yeah, it doesn't matter. You can kind of do it like that, and then it looks cool, and it gives you a little sort of design in the front like that. And then to kind of tie in the top part here, we'll just, you know what, we're gonna get rid of these pieces, because another thing is like instances will drag down your frame rate. So instead of having one of those and then putting another one and then putting another 1 meter there, so instead of having 3 pieces, we'll just have 2 pieces at the top that go all the way across. So that'll cut down on the amount of instances, and that's just something to keep in mind while you continue to build. Because the bigger you go, the more pieces you add in, the more instances you add, and the more instances you add, the more likely you're going to run into frame rate drops. And most people are not building as big as how, like, as big as this. But save yourself some frame rates. And resources too, because more pieces means more resources. And when you're not building in this sort of like creative mode, then yeah, you're gonna want to save yourself the pieces. That doesn't necessarily look the greatest. So I think what I'll do is just get rid of those in favor of larger pieces that cost less instances. So we'll just go like that. And again, like embedding that 1 meter beam into like 2 meter beams allows you to do stuff with the carved wood that you normally can't too. Like, again, you're gonna make this window right here, right? Like, let's make it like a normal window. That looks pretty cool, right? Like, you got like a bunch of designs. Some of the darker carved wood makes a circle in the center. This is cool, it looks cool. But if you want to go a little bit more intricate with it, you can, like I said, you can embed one of those 1 meters in there. That gives you a little bit more points to connect to. And so you can do one of these. And you can kind of overlap them to give you an even more like weird but cool looking like intricate design where you've got stuff kind of doubled up on each other. And if you cycle through your attachment buttons, you can also get the pieces to line up with like those darker carved wood pieces to kind of line up with each other in a way that looks really cool. So like now you've got these dark parts of the corner here lined up with the other ones that you're overlapping, and it also ends up kind of creating like a little ring design where like these little, you know, obviously this little corner piece is missing, but you can fudge that too and make it connect all the way so you've got like a bunch of dark rings that go across, right? It looks pretty cool. Another way to like further like kind of embellish on that, which is one that you'll see and people have probably seen in lots of my builds, is sort of Assassin's Creed symbol. And you can do that by taking your 26-degree angle dashwood beam, lining it up like that, and then you go and get your 45 to finish out the design, and you attach it like so, and then now you've got like a little Assassin's Creed symbol there. It's pretty cool, right? I feel like a seasoned pro if I ever joined Valheim now. Nice. Yeah, right? At least a seasoned pro builder. So, yeah, there's different ways to kind of play with overlapping and like embedding stuff into each other. Like you can even take these, and it's not going to look great because I've got too many pieces, which like almost like a almost like a Bob Ross painting. You don't want to have too much stuff like overcrowding other stuff, so then it'll take away from the design. The other thing to play with too to make different designs is the arches. And you can also do that little like 1 meter pole trick vertically, because they have the 1 meter poles vertically. So you can embed one of those in there and then go grab more of these, and you can kind of like double up on these. And you can't necessarily see it right here because I don't have it. It's not out all the way, but here, let's do this. Do like a split window design, and like you can play with so many different ways of like overlapping all this stuff to make all kinds of different windows. But to show you what I'm talking about, we'll take this 1 meter pole, and you can embed it either at the bottom or at the top. Doesn't matter necessarily where, but if you want to do like some really cool intricate window design, just invert them and then bring it down like so. And we'll go down again one more. And now you got like a really cool looking Viking window design. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, pretty cool. The other way you can mess with the arches to make designs too is, like I said, just kind of overlapping them. You can do them on the outside, like that, which sometimes ends up working out really cool when you go to do your overhang on your roof. Which, let's do that next. Kind of preemptively put some up there. Maybe even do one up here too. Like that. Why not? We'll do one right at the center too. Give it a bunch of that. Alright, so then your next move would, again, if you want to keep doing extra support so that you maintain your structural integrity all the way up, you'd grab your 45 or whatever angle roof you're using and start building down here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have to delete like 8 pieces in one spot, so we'll just go with the actual roof piece that we're going to use for our facade, which again, I like to use these, and you'll see why I like to use these two towards the end when we finally go to like fully decorate this part here. When we fully decorate the overhang of the roof, you'll see why I like to use these, because they look really cool and they will add a little bit more character and kind of depth to lots of your builds if you do it this way. Alright, so now we'll go grab the roof pieces. We're doing 45 angled pieces. Again, any type of like thing that I end up using like near the roof, I always try to make it ashwood if I'm going with these shingles, because like the ashwood poking through these shingles is like way less noticeable than like the regular wood would look. So yeah, there's that. Let's go ahead and continue the roof part up here. Put that in. And so now that you've got your overhang on the front of your house, now you can start adding in your like decorative elements that you want to be on the front of your house, right? Like we'll go with the raven for this one. I have to bring the sun back out again. It's the only drawback to using the ashwood pieces is that they're so dark. And in the sun, even in the sunlight, it's hard to make sure you're matching the pieces up exactly the way you want them to. But I'm going to bring the sun up so I can show you what to do now. So now it looks pretty cool, right? Well, let's say like you're like, ah, no, I think I want more windows on the front, right? Before you go to making your roof all intricate looking, and you're like, oh man, I really would like there to be like full windows down at the bottom. So what you want to do in the case of that, right, when you want to go with like a full window, but like you've already got a 1 meter wide piece like next to the door. What you can then do in order to make and you can do this too, like say you're building your doorway over, you can do it for the doors too, and I'll show you what I mean by that, but you get your 1 meter piece, right? You can do this a number of ways. You can embed that in there like that, and then, or you can just go with another carved wood divider on the other side of it. Go opposite the other one, because you can also double them up, but I'm gonna go for one on the opposite side so that we can make the window look kind of even on each side. Another cool thing too is like the carved wood things look cool enough that you don't necessarily even need, when you double up on them, you don't need that 1 meter in the middle. They look cool. And well, let's go with like a full, like, floor to ceiling type window. Back to our 1 meter poles. Okay, so now you got a nice like open kind of look to the base, right? A bunch of windows on the front. You let some natural light in, but so maybe you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom. Let's put a little half thing in here, and I'll show you how to make these look a little bit more with some depth as well. Because the other thing is like, even once you've gotten your thing built, right, you're good, and you're like, okay, that looks good, but it still looks a little bit flat even with the overhang. You can take your pieces like this, and like I said, you want to make sure they kind of match up, like, to each other. Otherwise it'll be kind of offset. And then what you do from there is, I'll do this one because you just grab the 1 meter ones. You kind of build it out. You basically just build it out again, like on top of itself. And here, I'm gonna go with these. Then we're gonna try to highlight the 1 meter one. I don't know if I'll be able to. So we just get it. Just get it to where it's like that. Okay. And then we'll get rid of these. Again, I'm using the thing that allows me to stop it from snapping into place here. Just holding that button. And sometimes when you do them like that, like opposite side each other, they might not line up because you're not like as accurate as the snapping points that are behind it. Right, so now we've got those pieces up. Let's get our arch. Hopefully I did it okay and they line up nicely. And actually, for the sake of saving pieces, let's just put our arches right up top here. So now you've got, like I said, you've got a little bit more depth to the window, which is cool. And I put them about the same spot apart, so we're good. Let me repair my hammer real quick. And you can do kind of any number of things from there with your window. Like I said at the beginning, you could frame it up with like one of these behind it. You could do crystal pieces, and you'll want to put those in the second pane if you want the front to have the depth. If you want the back part to have the depth too, that's also cool. You could like the interior to have that depth. You can put your crystal on the outside pieces here. I just like to do it that way, so you can see the arches on the outside of the window. You can also do this framing thing on the inside as well, but just remember that'll get rid of some of your floor space on the inside. So it's okay to have on the inside to have it look a little bit kind of flat like that, which again too, it all comes down to how intricate you really want to go with it all. Because I could come back here and do that frame around the outside too, so that you can see the arches. And in which case, if you're going to do that, don't have the arch in there on the inside. Just go with the regular straight up and down pieces. Because you don't need to have like the arches clipping through the crystal. So, but yeah, you basically, and you can do that. You don't have to start down here with like the poles. You can start up here with your arches and build down. You just hold that button so that it doesn't snap, and make sure that you're trying to line it up with the other piece that's directly behind it. Not going up too high, not going down too low. Because you want to keep the window about the same height, right? But now that that one's there, you can snap this one into place over here, and you can snap your other pieces in here, like so. And now you got like a full-on, like, double-paned window with a windowsill on the inside and all that stuff. A cool trick you can do here is, say you want like actually something on the windowsill, or you actually want a sill to the window and you don't want to use the ashwood beam to go across these two to make the sill. What you can do is, it's just a little mini trick, I guess it's not really even a trick, but get rid of that sill that you see right there, get rid of that, and attach it to that, the one that's on the outside. Then go back and put your crystal in, and then take your beam, and now you can go across it, but it'll jut out a little bit, so you can either do like a regular kind of windowsill like that, or since we're using the long poles, we'll embed one of these 1 meter ones in there just to make it so that that doesn't stick out. Okay. And then you can delete, if you can get the 1 meter beam to highlight, you can delete it afterwards. That way you don't have, like I said, a whole bunch of stuff in there. So now you've got like a little windowsill in here too that you can build on. You could like put, like I said, you could put a candle in the window. Could grab a little item stand, and you could like put that there, and then let's see what's like a spawn. What's a good trophy to put there? Let's say tankard. It's easy. You can pick it up, or is my inventory full? My inventory's full, isn't it? Yep. Throw the rock down. Pick up the tankard, and we'll put the tankard on the item stand. So yeah, now you got like a little windowsill. Like I said, build stuff on it, add stuff to it, decorate it, whatever you want. And it looks cool on the outside too. Kind of see that. Then you've got the depth to the window so that it looks cool. That's all awesome. And basically, if you want to, you can frame out just the windows to give it some depth. You could frame out just the door, like, which is kind of a cool thing to do too. So you take, and let's just go with this one just to give it a different look here on the front. You know. And a good way to like make it line up too is to like look at you see the little yellow like dots that are like coming out from there at us, is you kind of want to line those up kind of center somewhere, and then hold your button. You should be about it there, but if you're not, and you can see it's not if you look at the top of the door where the two doors come together at the arch of the door, you can see how the arch piece that I want to put down is a little bit higher than the wood beams that go across the top of the door. So you could just bring it down a little bit while holding that button. While holding the button to get it to stop from snapping into place. And just line up the pieces. Line the joints up with each other. And then also too, you can see how the door is clipping through this ashwood beam. It's another reason to do this. What I'm doing is like frame the outside. Like I said, once you get one piece down, the rest of them should snap to that piece, which it did. And now you got a little bit of a arch over the door that you can actually see, because like normally when you put these pieces in, you can't even see those arch pieces. They're hidden behind the arch of the door itself. I wouldn't necessarily recommend building off of the frame that you build, like to do like the whole thing, because you might get to a point where like at some point the thing that you built is like ever so slightly off from center on one end, but like the further you go, the larger that gap gets. So like you'll end up with it being like this, like where it doesn't line up necessarily correctly with it, and you're like off center. You know what I mean? So when you're framing, just try to frame off of the thing that's behind it. So let's just frame this side out real quick too, just so that they're even on each side. And I'm not trying to be like necessarily exact with it, but so yeah. And that kind of gives a little bit more depth and everything to it. And also too, if you see like a design that you have that's like behind a bunch of like structural wood that you're using, you can bring that design out to the front by just framing over it and doing the exact same thing of the design. Like, place that one there, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by doing it. I'll give you a little 1 meter in there so that you can embed we'll start down at the bottom, we'll go up, just like we did with the design that's behind the wall. So at the bottom, go up, 3 pieces, and the top one we had like so. And go straight down with some regular wood beams, just like that. And there, so now your design that's like embedded behind the wall is brought forward and gives it a little bit more depth. And you could, if you wanted to, go behind that and like delete the second layer of it or get rid of it if you wanted to. Whoa, what's going on, Smurf? Howdy, howdy. What you doing, feller? Just trying to kick this off with this one, off with a little bit of tutorial on how to give your base a little bit of depth when you're building, a little bit of character instead of just having, you know, like a flat sort of two-dimensional facade to your base. Have a little bit, add a little bit of depth, a little bit of character. So yeah. All right. Now, onto the roof part, right? Speaking of two-dimensional and not a whole lot of character, there's a bunch of different ways you can, like, kind of address that on your roof. And you can do that by either doing, like, just take some pieces and you go with, like, the same angle that you're using. Or you can go with a different one, too. And you can kind of cycle through the snapping parts, and you can do something like this. Go with like a different angle, like that, and that adds a little bit of character. But another way to do it is to angle it. Just spin it on its axis, like on its axis one time, like that, just once. You could come a little bit further for if you want like a more dramatic look to it, but I usually just go with the just one. And again, I'll show you why in a minute when we go back to the other. You might have to cycle through your snapping points just to get it to like hit on the spot you want it to. But you could do a couple of them to kind of give it that. Oop, I went too far with that. Just to give it that, like, sort of, you know, interesting, kind of intricate looking roof, right? And I don't know if you can see where I'm going with it, but if we go back to the 45-degree angle ones, usually what I like to do in order to make that, like, full-on Viking-esque, like, roof, like adornment, is you get it to snap to one spot, I'm going to get rid of this for now, just for now, so you can see exactly what I'm going to do here. And what I like to do too is start at the top, like all the way up here, and I leave this piece as my like starting point. Like that's going to be the only piece that stays looking like it's like flat against it. The rest of them will stay there too, but you'll see what I mean. Use that as your jumping off point and go one, turn, and you'll do the same thing for this one. Like this is straight in line with the others, but turn it once. And then you come out here and you turn it one more time, and you do the same thing for the other side. Like if you leave it on the same thing, it looks kind of goofy, so you turn it once, and now you've got a little Viking cross at the top of your roof, which is kind of cool. So what you're then going to want to do, though, if you want to kind of mimic a lot of those like woolly mammoth builds, is, like I said, you come down one full length. You don't want to start right up here with this, because it'll, I don't know, it'll look kind of goofy if you do that, but unless you want to, and that's totally cool. But as you go down, as you add more pieces, you just keep turning it one degree as you come down, and that gives your roof that sort of like curved Viking look, like so. Gives the entrance to your base a little bit of a curved look. And that's how you do that. And obviously, like the taller your roof, the more of those you can add in to really give it that sort of like woolly mammoth look. But you just, and usually I'll come down, like after I attach the first one from the very top, I'll come down two, just to give it that sort of spread out look. And then you just, like I said, every time you put one down, turn it. And if you've got like a large enough roof, you'll end up with that look that you see in my big giant, like massive build that hopefully I'm going to be able to do here on this one as well. But so yeah, that's how you can kind of dress up your builds. And again, you can kind of play with the designs and the overlapping of the pieces and the multiple connecting points and all that good stuff. And then if you want to, you can come back up to the top when you're all done and put your raven adornment back up top, and you can either, you know, connect it down here underneath, and because you got all these different connecting points, you got a multitude of places you can place it, or you can come right back up to the top and get it on the bottom of that, and it'll stick a little bit through there, which I think looks kind of cool, which I've done a bunch of times on the builds too. I think it looks really cool. But that is sort of the basics. Hopefully that was a bunch of good little tips and tricks for you to dress up the facades of your bases, the front part of your base. And again, like I said, you can kind of go as intricate or not as you want to on the inside, with setting different stuff up. And then another thing too to consider if you're trying to go for that really like intentional sort of like Viking look is to break out the item stand. You want to come up somewhere where it's like where that curve starts. Put one of these right there and another one right there, and you can go nuts with that too. You can like go all the way up it, kind of spread out like that. And I don't have like a forge or materials to make anything, so we're gonna spawn shield Let's go with the bronze buckler, I guess, because that'll be the one that'll look the closest. I like to do the silver shield, because you can kind of pick the design that goes on the front of it. But let's do 4 of those. Get rid of some stuff in my inventory to make space for them. Got 4 of them? Yeah, okay. And the Viking shields, or the silver shields with like the designs on them are usually better for this, but just for the sake of showing you what I mean, you'll put a bunch of shields up there on the item stands, and it gives you that sort of Viking look. And the silver shields are a little bit bigger than the item stands too, so you don't see like little corners of the item stands sticking out. But get creative with it. One of the ways to make those fake fireplaces, let's do 3 of them, is to get trophies that give off light. So pick these guys up, and I'll show you how to make a fake fireplace. Inside your base, and it does make it, and it's cool too for when you're like, oh, what am I gonna do with this tiny little triangular area that I can't like actually fit a real full fireplace in, and I don't want to like remove the roof to be able to like put the fireplace in. What you can do is go to the heavy build section like this, right? Across, and then I'm just gonna see if I can 2-meter beam. So you got like a little fake little looking fireplace thing, right? And then another thing that I like to add to make it look realistic is, okay, actually we'll put the item stands in first. Kind of angle them all different directions. Just make the fire look kind of natural. Then we'll take our Surtling trophies, and we will place them all trophy stands. And then I take a little bit of straw, put some in there, and then the other way to fully make it look realistic is to then take some of these logs, these pine logs, core wood, and use your like the thing that prevents it from snapping into place, because it'll want to, like, especially if your cursor is near the the snapping points. But hold down on the left bumper for controller, whatever, I'm not sure what the mouse equivalent is, but use that to stop it from snapping, and angle it a little bit. And if you like, don't just look where you're trying to place it, but look at the trophies too. Like, you can see, like, if I come all the way up, it hides the fire that's coming off of the trophy. So let's look down a little bit until some of those trophies start poking through, because also the trophy kind of looks like some coals, some hot embers. So we'll place that there, and then we'll do another one the opposite direction. Place that one a little bit further back, and and spin it once from that angle to this one. And then you can even use like the back of the roof that's behind this to, if you just hold down the button to stop it from snapping, you can use that to be a place where you attach to. So I'm gonna bring it up a little bit, and there you go. Now you got like kind of a little fireplace looking thing there, and to finish it off, put some iron grate in front of it. And there you go, you got like a little fireplace. Another thing is too, is like, say you don't want the iron grate to like come all the way up to the top, you just want it to kind of stick up a little bit. What you can do is take your 1 meter beam, your 1 meter pole, right, and stop it from attaching to something. Look at like the face or the corner part. I would go with the face though. Yep. And you see how when you're preventing it from snapping into place, you can kind of adjust the height of this, right? The iron grates are usually about, or the smaller iron grate are like 1 meter tall. So you put that down, like you just want to adjust the height of it, right? Like let's put it like maybe right about there. Now you can go back, grab your iron grate, and attach it to this at that height, and then you can remove that, and you've got it set down a little bit lower, and then you can kind of, you know, angle it a little bit, and then make it go into the stone so that it kind of wraps all the way around, and there you go. It's like a little fake fireplace going for you. And then for, you know, like outside decoration too on the front of your house, now that you've like built that kind of like overhang on it, you've also got a place where you can hang this, and it should, for the most part, stay going, like even during the rain. And then also, because you got multiple, like, because you built like a frame around some of it to give it the depth, you know, around your windows, around your door and all that stuff, or on your like the center window design there. You've got multiple attach points too for your lights and stuff like that. So if you don't want like the diamond shaped like plate that it sits on to like show, like it would kind of, see how it's like poking through the corner right there. You can get it to attach to some of the stuff that's behind there, so that it just kind of pokes out through the front. Or you can set it on top of the carved wood next to your window, so that it's like set in behind it a little bit. And again, like I said, you got so many different points you can attach to now, because we've got the sort of second layer on the outside. That's maybe a little bit excessive on the lighting, but again, just for tutorial purposes. It depends on how you really want to make it look, but you can do that. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to consider too, when building, especially when building kind of big, is your roof. It looks super boring. It's just flat wood planks. And the way to kind of counteract that, and how you saw in the big giant build, is by using a lot of these to kind of hide some of it. And you can, basically what you want to do is, let's go right here for our support. We want to line it up right with the other ones, right? Build up to your roof. Grab that. Attach this one to the other side here. Build down. To right there, and in order to counteract some of that like boringness going on at the top of the build, to hide some of the flat roof stuff, you can sort of build some of these in there. That. And if you want to kind of get a little bit fancy with it, instead of just doing a regular arch, you can do arches like that. All kinds of stuff you can do. Let's say now you've got back here. Need to bring the sun out again. Also, maybe bust the wisp light out too, so you can see up in here when we're actually in here. Come on now. There you go. Alright, so so say you got that, and you're like, yeah, but I can still see all the way up into the like boring roof on top. Look at the center of your two arches. Cycle through your snapping points. Get it to go kind of on the middle like that. And once you got it on the middle, you're going to have to recycle through your snapping points. And you can start doing like single turns, kind of how we did the roof on the outside. Until you've got it matched up with like that. That'll give your build a little bit more depth on the roof, but like say you're not building something that you're gonna hang the brazier off, you'll do, let's get rid of all these. So you wanna do, yeah, let's start with this side here. Kind of want to go like this, right? No, how did I do that? Basically, if you want to make like a dome type, or even like one of those like half domes, that like what you saw in that one build that I have, the larger build. Just gonna cycle through your snapping points. Make sure you're looking at that initial snapping point there. And then come back around this way. Just one single turn each time until you're back lined up straight again, and now you've got like that little half a dome thing, and you could keep going. You can keep going all the way around. So you got like a full dome when you walk in, and you can kind of hide the ugliness of that too with a bunch of different other ways, like taking your arches and going down like that, and then let's put our little 1 meter pole in there too, so that we can attach at like a different height. Oops. Stick it in there. There we go. Then come over to this side. Same thing to up there. Come on now. Come on. Come on. It's right there, man. Right there. Okay. And like, so this archway would kind of hide some of that back part coming off, and obviously you'd have like a whole setup kind of in front of it, like I'll show you what I mean. So we'd like take this, build off of that. Take the decorative carved wood, attach it to the top like that, and then that kind of hides a little bit of it. There's different ways that you can do that too, but so yeah. And you can use the dome as like something to hang lights in, or just to be a dome. Or you can use that central point that we attached all the things to as the like actual center point, like so. Oops, I didn't mean for that to happen. That's alright. So like this, and then we're gonna do one of these, go all the way around, just one at a time. Oops, that last one didn't go very well, did it? Okay, snap into place. Look over here. If you can't get it to snap, just cycle through the snapping points. There we go. And then of course too, you're gonna want to like try to mitigate those like weird looking edges poking out. So look at the like center one, place some of those there, and that'll kind of close out that part, and then you can just build your supports down from there like so. You could even like take this out and extend them out a little bit if you wanted to, so that you've got like a bigger kind of walkway between the two, especially if you're trying to like line it up with like say like a fireplace over that way you got two all the way to the fireplace, you know. And then that structure then creates that type of thing where you can hang that from it. You can hang a brazier from that. Try to look for the most central point you can. And there you you go. I'll give you a cool looking kind of chandelier type thing to hang it from in the roof. And like I said too, you can kind of play with some of the other arches that are on the outside of it. You see how they like kind of go in and they'll match up with the other pieces that are already kind of in place that are all inverted like that. Just get them to kind of go like that. And again, the only thing to kind of keep in mind. Hello, oh my god. Oh, look, it's Rachel. Well, the whole gang has been here once. I mean, I don't. The demo's probably gone right now, but everybody's been here. What's going on, Rachel? How's Bikini doing? Yes, Murph, you gonna be back on the trails later today, man? Hopefully, we'll get the 4 of us out on the trails. We'll get going. Get everybody out on the trails, man. Get to riding, having fun. So yeah, that's kind of how you do all the intricate type stuff. It's how you dress up the front of the base. Make it not look so kind of like flat like that, you know? Gives it a little bit more depth. The thing to consider though when building, especially in trying to do like roof decoration, like interior ceiling designs and stuff like that, the thing to consider when you're doing that, at least for me, was always a thing to consider. The main thing to consider is that they will poke through, like the upper parts of those arches and stuff will poke through. So I like to use the ashwood and the shingle roofs, like the darker ones, because the black ones, because they kind of mesh better. Like the ashwood and the shingles, like it looks better. If you got like a piece of regular wood sticking through, it looks kind of, here I'll show you, it looks kind of goofy. The thing is, if you're going to do it like that, you should just go all the way across kind of thing, you know? Then at least it looks uniform. Looks like it should look like that. But I prefer the ashwood because it's kind of like, it just blends better into the darker shingles. That's the other thing too to consider when you're building stuff is like what's gonna poke through the roof and what isn't. Like that obviously poke through the roof, so if you get a problem with that, you might have to like just build something out here to make that look like it's supposed to be there. Either you know, turning it into like a full-on little like chimney-esque looking thing, you know, like that, where it's like, oh, okay, it's a chimney, makes sense. Or, you know, whatever you can think of to kind of creatively hide it. And again, the other important part too when building your A-frame and going up really tall with it is making sure that you've got those wood iron poles in there too, because without those, you won't maintain your structural integrity. Like going from a really wide base like this all the way up to like up here with it. And hopefully, I'm gonna be able to do that on this one. It's always the most difficult part, is making sure that all this stuff is held up nicely. Like this whole side has the ground raised up to it so that it's all structurally sound. This one I'm going to have to really work at making sure that it's all structurally supported, so that way when I do go to add the roof on this end, that I'm not, like, it's not going to constantly be collapsing on me while I'm trying to build upwards. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much how you build kind of intricately, and you know, make use of your snapping points, be a little bit creative, think outside the box when it comes to like making light sources, or you know, little fake fireplaces like that. Use a Surtling trophy, use a couple of them, put them on an item stand, and then chuck in some of the core wood pieces like at an angle to make it look like you got wood in there. Use your snapping points, and also don't use the snapping points in some instances. Like, just create another snapping point by, like, putting something on the outside of something and making sure it doesn't snap to it. Putting it at whatever, like, height or angle you want it to be at. And then use that as the attachment point. Go from there. Awesome, I'll be there. Cool, cool. We'll see you guys out on the trails a little bit later. Oops. Repair the hammer again. Can you turn snapping off and free place it? Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Papa, when I was talking about trying to get that iron grate to kind of like sit a little bit lower on the fake fireplace I was building. Because it didn't, I mean, initially to me it didn't look right when I had the grate like at the full height that it goes. So in order to like turn the snapping off, you just gotta hold the button. And you can see like when I press the button down how it comes out of the place like it's trying to snap into, right? And so in order to get that grate to sit a little bit lower, I took a 1 meter pole, because that specific grate that I was trying to use was 1 meter tall. And you just kind of like turn off the snapping, lower it until you're at a height that you think you want it at, and then attach your iron grate to that piece instead of having it snap to the place that it normally would, and it'll sit a little bit lower. That's actually how a lot of... Is this modded? No, it is not modded. There's no mods. I don't play with any mods on this game whatsoever, and I haven't ever felt the need to ever play with mods on this game. Some people have a lot of cool... It's not to like diss mods for the game or anything like that, because there's a lot of really cool mods for this game, but I've never felt the need to. I've always had a lot of fun with the game without it. And the like versatility of the building system in this game, like being able to not have it snap into place, is what kind of gives you a little bit more freedom and creativity with your builds and stuff like that. Also, choosing the different snapping points is how you get pieces to attach to like the same spot that there's already a piece, like this little like offshoot of the same 45-degree angle one is like normally almost almost impossible to get to attach them both to the same like point right there. But angle it slightly, cycle through your different snapping points like that, and each piece has multiple like snapping points. So nice. It's a good vanilla build set as far as I get. Yeah, it has, honestly, Valheim is one of the most versatile building games, like, to build in. Structural integrity is a thing, which can be a pain in the butt, but it's cool. I think it's cool. Adds a little bit of realism to it, too. But you could literally frame, like, in this game, you could literally frame, if you had, like, all the measurements, and you had, like, all the blueprints of a house, you could literally frame and build a house exactly like you would in real life. You don't have to frame it exactly how you do in real life, though. Like, you don't need like studs and a sill plate and all that stuff, and beams to necessarily build a wall. Like, you can build a wall with like just wall pieces, but you could definitely like actually frame up a house like you would a real house, you know what I mean? Like, you take your sill plate. This is a little bit of lessening actual construction for people. But you got your sill plate, right? Then you got your studs, and don't ever like commit the crime of like just building one tall, even if it's 2 meters, because your character is about 2 meters tall, like slightly under. But always try to go at least 2, if not 3. But so you've got your sill plate on the bottom, your studs going up, and then you got your beam across the top, right? Then you go get your walls, and you could like literally frame your entire house like that. Like, you could literally do it like that. You're like, no, I want to put a window there. Okay, let's put a window there. We'll grab like the half piece, and then you could build a window right there. You could even take some of these like inverted pieces, build a like pretty basic window, like so. Or you've also got shutter pieces, so you could build shutters on your base, like so. Looks kind of like that on the other side. And then you just like complete the top of it with one of those. Frame it all the way up. And that's usually how people end up building too. What I was kind of describing with that one is like, if you don't want it to look so like two-dimensional on either side, to your interior or your exterior, you can then take this and toggle off the snapping by holding the button down. Kind of try to line this up so that it's right in the middle, and then go from there, like build up from there. 1 meter, 1 meter, 2 meter beam, and then you can move your shutters to the exterior part. If you wanted to. Physics adds realism and challenge. Yeah, definitely. For sure it does. And then your interior of your window has got like a little windowsill, like I was showing over here, where you can like put stuff on it. You could put like an item stand, place like a tankard or whatever item you really want to place on it. Place your candle on it, and then you've got, like I said, you've got like a little interior windowsill. And the way that I framed this window up was so that you've got like a basically like an actual double paned window, so that you've got like a little windowsill on the outside too, that if you wanted to put something on the outside, you could set something on the outside of it. But it adds depth to the build so that when you're looking, you know, dead on, it's not just like a flat exterior wall, you know what I mean? And you can extend the overhang of your roof like one whole piece, which is what I usually like to do, like one whole roof piece, just kind of extend it out once. You can also have, like I was explaining at the top of the stream here, you can take these like 1 meter beams and you can kind of extend your roof out just 1 meter, so you're not going out as far as I do with the overhang. I just like doing the overhang one full thing out for 2 reasons. Like, one, it gives you a little bit of extra like roof to be under when you're here. It shades or covers your brazier if you want to use that for lighting on the exterior. It covers that during rain for the most part. Sometimes it'll go out if the rain is like really heavy or whatever, but or the wind is like blowing it directly in that direction. But then the other reason is also so you can add kind of like, you know, some exterior sort of like, you can put the arches on the outside and it looks cool like that. Again, just to kind of give you a little bit more of that depth, but yeah, it definitely adds realism. Like, the first time I started building in this game, I was framing like that because of my like construction like experience and working in construction. When I first started building, I was doing that, and I was like, man, this is gonna take forever to build a house. So you gotta actually like frame it up, and then you gotta use more, you gotta go get more wood so you can actually put the walls in. But you don't actually have to frame it up. Like, I don't need those in there. Those end up just working as like frames for the windows. But you could actually just go flat across with it if you wanted to. But it all But yeah, when you're building, you want to make sure you eat food that is stamina heavy, so that you don't run out of stamina while you're building. So yeah, many different ways to kind of like, you know, give your base a little more like an intricate look. I guess too, while we're here, I should probably show you guys how to do the windows made out of stairs to add that like natural light look to the base, right? Do it this way. Do it this way so I can show you what I'm talking about. Make your kind of like sun, moon roof, sunlight, I don't know, what do you call these things? I'm just like blanking the name. And you would think that like, yeah, you could just do that, right? And then you got like natural light that can come in through that way, but it won't necessarily because what it'll do is all those stairs will get hit with the rain, and then the rain will destroy them down to 50% over time, and they can only go down to 50 being destroyed by the elements like that. They won't ever just completely break apart, but they'll look all kind of gross and nasty, like greenish looking. So what you want to do though to help that or to prevent that from happening is kind of build you like a little overhang over the roof, and you do that by kind of setting these into place. Come on, man. Find the connection point. Where is it? There we go. Kind of build these over the top of it. Trying to get that dang spot. Where is it? There we go. Okay. And then we went with the 45-degree angle. Like that. And so that kind of protects the stairs from being damaged from the rain. So it covers them completely. Comes all the way out. But still allows light to come in while you're in here. Super easy to do that. You just kind of make sure you're using the right size pieces and fit them all in correctly. Yeah. I think I'll just leave them exposed for right now so you can see exactly what I mean too. Once the rain starts coming. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can kind of make it all look really intricate and have it be kind of cool looking. There's lots of different ways to do your roof and have it look like a Viking roof too. Another way to do it is to use multiple angles for the roof. Like, start with, I'm gonna have to come back and destroy that later. But you could start with the less steeper of an incline roof, right? And let's go 2 there, and then we'll go right here. Right? Yeah, okay. Lots of, another way to do the top of your roof is do one of these, like switch it up when you get towards the very top. Go with the 45. At the top, and that gives you that kind of like, you know, super angled sort of look to it. I wouldn't recommend building a an A-frame like that, because when you use the 45s, like it's a lot harder to walk around in the bottom of that. But so yeah, that's kind of how you do it. That's how you get intricate with it, and how you get kind of you know, fancy with it. Just do it that way. Again, too, you just want to be wary while you're building of like how many pieces you're putting in, and when you can do one piece instead of 2, go that route, because the less instances, the better. Take this to the bottom so that it'll just collapse and I don't have to delete every single piece. What do you mean missing the required crafting station to get rid of that? Like, I'm right near the friggin' forge. What are you talking about? It's right there. Okay, whatever. Do the same to this side. So yeah, you just kinda gotta be a little bit creative, think outside the box, literally, for lack of better words. Think outside the two-dimensional box. Oops. There's no way this is holding it all up. Come on now. Dude, this whole thing should be falling apart right now, but it isn't. One of the annoying things about building large is that you're always like, too far from one of your benches. How is this all still held together? It's floating. I think it's like glitching, because it should all really be falling apart. Fall apart, man. I was trying to take it from the bottom so that it just fell apart. I think the structural integrity is like just slowly going away instead of like immediately being taken out from underneath it, because normally it would have just all fallen apart. Watch that one piece just be stuck there. Really? Oh, you can see the structural integrity getting worse now because it doesn't have anything to hold it there. Watch it turn red and fall apart. No, gravity is very much a real thing, and fall damage is not to be messed with in this game. It sucks. It was just because of the wood iron poles that I had put in there as in order to like hold it all up structurally, like the fact that it was missing a bunch of it underneath it wasn't registering right away. But yeah, it's very much a real thing in the game. Okay. Let's... So I can get rid of some of this junk in my pocket. Oof. What the hell? Where's it been? There's in here, but maybe I was wrong. Where is it? Damn, no, I thought it was in there. What the hell? Oh, I just couldn't see it because it was like all grayed out. Alright, just get rid of some of this junk in my pocket. Okay. Alright. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you kind of go from looking a little kind of like flat and bland to adding a little bit of depth and stuff like that. And sometimes it helps to think in terms of like actual real construction too, like overhang on your roof. You know what I mean? Almost every roof in existence has overhang on it, just to keep the water off of the structure, like directly. And man, I don't know how this is gonna work when it comes to doing a roof over the top of it. Making sure this thing is like super structurally sound is gonna be such a pain in the butt. But I might be able to do it. I might be able to do it. because as you can see, it's like as we start getting over this way, we got yellow right here, we've probably got orange and even red, and that's not good. We need this all to be like blue. I don't even want it to be green like this up this way. I want it to be blue. Solid grounded blue, so that when I go to build the roof over the top of it, it's not collapsing on me every 2 seconds. So I think right now I really want to try to make sure that this works down here, because I'm gonna need to make sure it is definitely all shored up. It doesn't want to snap into place there. It's kind of annoying. Now this one doesn't want to snap into place. What do we do that? And that. Okay. Alright. And I should have done more wood iron poles like up the side before I started doing that exterior stone foundation at the bottom, but that's okay. It's gonna be such a pain in the butt if that's doing that to me, so we'll have to like make sure that I get them all in line with each other instead of trying to skip them across like the middle part. Do. Just want them to all be square, not like having to intersect each other and cut across like that. Shit. Again, not what I was trying to do, but whatever. This shit is gonna be really annoying. Like, come on, man. How are you not able to intersect yourself there? Is it because this thing? No. Is it because that one? No. Literally any other fucking thing has no problem doing that. Just doesn't want to do it here. What if I do this? Yeah, I hear you breaking apart over there. What if we do that? Then can I have it attached here too? Good lord. Need to basically try to make this like a nice supporting grid along the whole entire bottom of this. Yeah, I didn't build it perfectly go over the top because, oh man, because also the edges have like half the 2x2 sticking out. Like there's half, and there's another half. I'm gonna have to rework this. Gonna have to rework this. God dang it. I knew I was gonna have to do it too. I don't know why I didn't plan that out a little bit better, but yeah. Be right back, ghosts. I gotta use the restroom real quick. Okay, we're back. We're back, and I don't know how I'm gonna end up making this work. Oops. Wrong command. Like I may very well end up having to raise the ground, at least in like columns, raised ground columns or something down here. To make raised ground columns, and I'm probably gonna have to redo this grid here. Alright, Ghost, I think I am gonna take a break here. I need to really consider how I'm gonna make that work, but I hope you guys enjoyed the little tutorial part at the beginning there, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode when we continue working on the Behemoth here. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, join the Discord, check out memberships on the channel, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, Ghosts. Thanks for hanging out.